Hi, today I'm reviewing the Natasha Denona Mini Sunset Eyeshadow Palette. And really quick, I just want to say I purchased all these products with my own money, so you know you can trust my opinion is what I honestly believe. And if you want to help support the channel, click on the Amazon link below before you make your purchase. So this is a new palette from Natasha Denona. It's called the Mini Sunset Eyeshadow Palette, and it includes 5 new eyeshadow colors that are not in the large Sunset Eyeshadow Palette. And this came out the same day as the Tropic Eyeshadow Palette, which is $130, and this is about $25. So it's a little more affordable, and my excuse to not have to buy the Tropic palette, even though I wanted it. I really only wanted it for like 3 colors, and it doesn't make sense to spend that much money for 3 colors, but if it goes on sale, who knows? So anyway, let me start out with my Sarah scale, and I'll let you know what I think of it. Number 1 is the packaging, and the packaging of it is quite nice. It's tiny, it's petite, but it's a good travel eyeshadow palette. So they get a thumb up there, and just for comparison's sake, if you haven't seen this in the store, I'm going to put one of her other 5-pan palettes next to it so you have a better perspective of just how little this is. So this is one of the holiday 5-pan eyeshadow palettes, and then this is the Mini Sunset, so it is quite small. You could probably almost fit a couple of those in there, but it is tiny, but that also makes it good for travel, and it's cheaper than the other larger size 5-pan eyeshadow palettes. But I just wanted you guys to kind of see that and have a perspective. It's a mini guy. It's definitely a little one. So anyway, so number 2 is alcohol. No alcohol in this. Number 3, fragrance. No alcohol or no fragrance in this. Number 4 is the manufacturing location, and this is manufactured in Italy, so no issues there. It's a thumb up for me there. Number 5 is the ease of use, and for me, I just didn't find this to be as blendable or buildable as a lot of her other eyeshadow palettes. I don't know if there is a slight formula change with this, but I did not give it a thumb up for ease of use because I just found it to be harder to blend than a lot of her past palettes, and then harder to blend than a lot of other brands' eyeshadow palettes I have too. So just not quite as easily blendable. So I don't know if you guys know if there's a formula change, let me know. So I did not give it a thumb up for that. Number 6 is pigmentation, and let me give you guys some swatches so you guys have a feel for what these look like on. And let me say, my issue has always been with this brand is that they don't include a full eye look in each palette. So in this one, this color, it's almost light enough to use on the brow bone, but it's not light enough, for me anyway. It wasn't. So I'm wearing the palette on, but my entire brow bone color is from another palette because this one is too dark for me. If you have darker skin or more olive skin, you probably won't have that issue, but this is the issue I've had with all, like even like this holiday palette, there's not a brow bone color on here. So all of her palettes I have that issue with. So this would be perfect for traveling, except I don't have a brow bone color with it. So I need to bring something else with it anyway. So let me give you guys swatches here. So for pigmentation, I did not give it a thumb up there either. I didn't find these to be as pigmented as most of her eyeshadow palettes normally are. So I didn't give a thumb up there. The colors are buildable, which is good. They have to be because you're not going to get one swatch or one swipe color with it, but they are very buildable. But they just don't have the normal pigmentation that I'm used to with the brand. Usually I almost think they're too pigmented, you know, because they're that pigmented, they're almost harder to work with. But they're buildable, but just not as pigmented as normal. So each color takes a few swipes of the brush. So, but you can build them up to the color you want. So, but the colors are very beautiful as well, but just not as pigmented. So Number 7, which is animal testing. Everything I've seen indicates that the Natasha Denona brand is cruelty-free. They're not vegan, but they are cruelty-free, so they get a thumb up there. And number 8 is Performance, and I did not give it a thumb up for that either. That's mostly because of the lack of pigmentation and the fact that they're buildable, but they're not as blendable. They don't blend as easily as a lot of her other palettes have. Compared to a lot of other eyeshadows, they're moderately blendable, but they're just a little harder to work with, and I'm not sure, like I said, if there's a formula change, but they're just not quite as blendable. If you use it without an eyeshadow primer, you're going to have some issues there as well. So you're for sure going to want to use an eyeshadow primer underneath as well. But a lot of her other, the company's other palettes, I haven't had that issue with. Looks great if I use a primer or not. So again, I'm wondering if there's some type of formula change with this, but so I did give it a thumb down there. But if you use an eyeshadow primer with it, you're not going to have problems with it, bleeding or anything, or creasing. So, but definitely use a primer with it. So, number 9 was the price, and this is $25, so I gave it a thumb up there. That's a decent price, $5 a pan, which isn't too bad. And it's kind of a nice price point for people that haven't got to purchase a lot of her other palettes before, because they're in the hundreds of dollars. It's nice to have one that's a little more affordable to introduce people to the brand, and something nice and tiny just to travel with. So, and then number 10 is the It Factor, and I did not give it a thumb up there. I think right now the Tropic Palette's getting all the It Factor, but I just couldn't rationalize that kind of money for something where it's 3 or 4 shadows are must-haves. So, anyway, I'm interested to see what else the brand's going to come out with this year, but it's a nice, cute little palette, and if you don't have a lot of her other stuff, it's nice to add to your collection, but nothing you have to have. And if you already have the Sunset palette, there's colors in there that are close to most of these. These are not colors that are in the palette, but you can definitely make some similar looks with it. So overall, on my scale, this palette gets 6 out of 10, which is decent. I believe it's a 1 thumb up. There's definitely worse palettes you could have, but I just really wish they would have included a lighter color for the brow bone area. That's kind of the thing. They never have those. So, but decent. If you don't have any of these colors, or you're new to makeup or new to the brand, worth checking out, but definitely not the brand's best product yet. So, anyway, I'm interested if you guys have had a chance to check this out yet or not, and if so, what your thoughts were, if you agree with me or not, or love it or hate it. So leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already. I come with at least 1 new review every day. And check out nobsbeauty.net. Thank you so much, guys. Hi, this is Sarah from No BS Beauty, and I'm proud to offer you one of my first products. And it is a stainless steel makeup palette. And I've been using ones like these for quite a while, and it makes it a lot easier to mix kind of custom foundation shades, custom serums, custom lip colors. You need something like this in your makeup routine to make things a lot easier. And all the profits from it will go to help the channel, which I'm independent and I purchase all the products with my own money. So definitely all of the profits will go so I can continue to bring you good reviews. But, you know, things I like to use are retinol. Retinol is definitely a good thing to use, but sometimes some of them can be a little too strong. So sometimes I like to mix them with other serums. So I'll use this to kind of custom make my retinol at night. So it's a little bit less irritating when you mix it in with something else. Or another thing you can do is mix in a vitamin C. Some of these can be a little oily or greasy, so sometimes it's nice to be able to mix it in with another serum. So I like to use the Clinique one, and I'll mix this in just a little bit, because otherwise sometimes it can be a little too oily. And I'll mix it in, and in the morning I'll apply it all over my face before sunscreen. And another good vitamin C serum I like is the Dermadoctor one, but sometimes using the dropper with that can be a little messy, so sometimes I just like to mix just a little bit in with another serum. I love the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Serum, definitely a holy grail of mine. And I like to mix that in with it as well. Or sometimes before I go to bed, If I've got something else going on the next day, I like to mix in a little bit of tanner, self-tanner, but sometimes if you use it alone, it can get a little too orange or a little too dark. So sometimes mixing that in with another serum makes it definitely a lot better and a lot more moisturizing for your skin as well. So definitely something you can use in your serums, or your kind of custom make your own skincare routine by using that and mixing up all these products. So definitely something worth considering there. And I also like to use it to mix in some of my custom foundations. So let me show you that too. Another thing I've been using this palette for is mixing and kind of customizing my own foundation. You can almost create a specific color if you have certain foundations that don't mesh well with your skin tone or even your skin texture. You can almost create your own custom foundation. One foundation I love is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro. However, sometimes I can find it to be a little too drying and almost kind of giving you more of a matte finish. So sometimes I'll mix in a little bit of the Josie Mara and Argan Moonstone drops with it, and then use it. And it kind of helps kind of lessen the color and kind of give it a little bit more of a glowy look. Another thing I like to use is mixing in sometimes with oil with a foundation, and sometimes that gives you more of a dewy look. So sometimes I'll mix that in with the Dr. Jart, and it helps give you a little bit more of a glow to it. So sometimes mix in just a little bit in. And you definitely want to be careful with what you're mixing, just to make sure that the ingredients are compatible, because certain types of foundations don't work well with certain types of other ingredients. But something to consider, definitely. But you can almost create your own custom look. I love this. But sometimes I feel like I need a little bit of a glow to it. So I'll mix in some of my NYX Born to Glow Illuminator with it. So you can definitely do that. Also, Cover FX makes a great, they're custom cover drops, but you can use these to alter the color of any foundation. So this is great to mix that with. Just give it a couple drops there. And then mix that in with another foundation to make it either lighter or darker. The Ordinary Serum Foundation is great, but I found it difficult to get the exact color. So sometimes mixing the other colors works well. Cover FX also has these new glitter drops, so sometimes it's nice to be able to use this to mix in with either a foundation or just to put it on this. And then you can use a brush to either dip it in and apply it as eyeshadow, or dip it in and apply it onto lips as kind of a lipstick cover. So there's definitely some great options, and definitely love some of Cover FX's custom enhancer drops. But you can use this to mix it in with almost any different type of foundation and add a little bit of color here and there. But definitely using this, and if you use a sponge or a beauty blender, you can get that damp and then just use this to dip it in and apply it. It makes it a heck of a lot easier than trying to do it in your hand, or I don't know where else you would even, maybe the lid of another product, but this definitely makes all of that a heck of a lot easier. So it's definitely something worth picking up. And all of the profits from the sales of this palette will go to support my independent reviews. I purchase all the products myself just so I can give you an honest opinion, as opposed to somebody that gets the products for free to review. I personally like to purchase them so I can give you my completely objective review without having to feel like I owe a company anything because they gave me something free. So all the profits will go to help support those reviews.